Lola and Kyle get a room. Ashley is apparently spying on Jack with some kind of device, and Phyllis is out for blood. She's not going to stop. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, my name's Rachel Goodman, and thanks for tuning in for another crazy week of Restless Wrap. We have a lot to cover today, especially we had last week, if you didn't manage to make it in, we had the amazing Brittany Sarpy on as our special guest. So we got to talk a lot with her about everything going on with the show and her character's involvement and what we're going to expect to see from Elena. So if you haven't watched that already, just a plug here that you can always go back and rewatch that. But this week, we're going to dive in, talk about everything that's going on in Genoa City, touch base with the fans, and just kind of go from there. So thank you again, everyone in the chat, for tuning in every week. We've got Hubby Joe, we've got Mary, we have Alyssa Brown Carlton. I made it. Hi, everybody. Hi, Alyssa. Thanks for tuning in. We have, I'm scrolling down here. Oh, we have Doolaman, Aaron Brody, Susan Russo, and Brittany Duran. So I will definitely give you guys shout outs as we continue here. But I also wanted to give a shout out to the people who actually left a comment on last week's episode that we had. We had Hubby Joe saying awesome show and guest. Can't wait to see what will happen next. We had Sharon Smith saying absolutely a fan of Brittany Sarpy. We'll be tuning into Y&R more so now. Well, thank you for saying that. And then we have Andre Lawrence saying, how did I miss this? Well, I don't know, but the good news is we always save our live shows, so you can go back and watch any of them. If you ever miss a week, just go to AfterBuzz TV Drama. You can even search AfterBuzz TV Drama, The Young and the Restless, and the show pops right up. And you can catch any episode you ever miss. And then, yeah, we're always taking live calls after we do our first segment. So you always, whenever you tune in live, you always have the chance to call in live and talk. So let's go ahead and dive in here. We have a lot going on. We had some things with Victoria and Billy this week. It was really sentimental and sweet how they did this. We know, not from this week, but 2 weeks ago, Victoria was kind of hooking up with Brandon, that guy that she met in Las Vegas, who we didn't know too much about him other than the fact that he is in a band and that he seemed to know a little bit about Victor and Victor's gambling situation, and that Big Vic kept showing up to these gambling tournaments in Las Vegas. So we learned a little bit about Victor. There's some kind of side storyline going on with him that Hubby Joe was commenting about how it didn't seem to make sense, and that's kind of what everyone in the chat was mentioning too just now. We have Mary saying Phyllis is really annoying. Mary and how desperate did they make Summer. Mary so much, can't wait for all this action and what's up with Victor. Hubby Joe, I don't understand where they're going with Victor. It's not making any sense. And Alyssa Brown Carlton also agrees. I don't know where they're going with Victor either. I wonder if it has to do with Adam, Victor disappearing. And they did say that they've recast Adam, so we can definitely expect to see Adam again. We're also, everything with JT, I know we're done with that storyline. Thank goodness. We've all been waiting for that to be over with. But it kind of did cut off very abruptly, so we don't know if Victor is traveling to do anything, to get any kind of payback with JT, or maybe it does have to do with Adam. We just don't know because we haven't gotten that much context for it yet. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it, if it is going to make sense, if we're going to like the storyline. It just, right now it's very vague. We did, however, get a lot with Victoria and Billy, and it was very sweet. So we kind of picked up this week with Victoria right after that Brandon guy left. And she had a one-night stand with him. And then Billy shows up. And at first, I thought Billy was going to be really pissed off at her because, hey, so Billy and Victoria really aren't technically together. It's very obvious that Victoria has been pushing Billy away. And to me, it had everything to do with the abuse storyline. And that's where I think, I hope they go with this, because finally we would get more of her reaction to the trauma, aside from just worrying about whether someone's going to catch her for being for murdering somebody. Now we can see more of how that trauma of being in an abusive relationship is going to affect her next relationships. And that's why I really love where they're going with this now, with Victoria pushing Billy away, because not only has he hurt her so many times in the past, but this is a person who Victoria is very damaged right now. And I don't know if I want to use that word. Damaged maybe isn't the right, like the perfect word for this, but as someone who's gone through, as Victoria is now a person who has gone through a very traumatic experience with another man, it might be hard for her to consider getting into a relationship with another guy because of the fact that the last guy, who seemed very, like it's not like she didn't know JT. She knew JT very well. They'd been married before. So I wonder if Victoria is going through this situation in her life right now where she's wondering if she can trust her judgment. I know she mentioned that to her therapist in the past, and that was a point of contention and something that she brought up specifically with Billy. Can I trust myself to be with somebody who's not going to hurt me? And I think that's the theme that is kind of continuing throughout this. And what disappointed me about our conversations with Billy this week, and I say conversations because we had a few, was that they didn't really touch on JT and as a possible reason that she might be avoiding Billy. And I don't think Victoria needed to say that JT was the reason, but I think she needed to have more of a heart-to-heart with Billy and actually go into some of the things that she discussed with her therapist about not trusting herself and being a little more open with him. And I know that kind of goes against everything, and especially if Victoria is having this moment where she's doubting herself and doesn't know if she can make the right choice to be with someone who isn't going to hurt her. And I know like that's probably tough for her, especially when, as Victoria put it, she doesn't need to explain herself to Billy. They aren't together, or at the beginning of this week, they weren't together. Now, near the end, we can kind of assume they are, especially with the previews with Billy proposing to Victoria, which, okay, like I don't mean to jump ahead here, but it's almost like I think Billy's a good person. I don't think he's going to end up being another JT. But to me, if I had been in Victoria's position and this happened, it would kind of be like a flashback, because JT proposed super quickly and now Billy's proposing very quickly. The only difference is that it's not like Billy was out of her life. Billy has been consistently in her life, even as just a friend. And they've had some wild swings up and down. They worked together at Brash and Sassy for a long time. So I would guess, I don't know which word is the better word there. Let's go with, I would guess that she can trust herself a little bit more with Billy just because he's consistently in her space. And it's not like JT where he was gone for a long time and then came back, and all these things were going on with him that she might not have picked up on because they had not been together for a very long time, even as friends. We just have a couple of comments here in the chat, and then we'll get back to this. Aaron Brody, JT went to, I think, quickly for Victor's murder attempt. I'm not sure if I butchered that. Melody Moffat says, I think that Victor's gathering info on Adam. Aaron Brody, Victor's probably out doing stuff involving getting Adam back. So I think everyone kind of feels like, yeah, this is Victor. This storyline with Victor is probably going to include getting Adam back in the storyline. Andre Lawrence, Chloe is coming back, so we have an Adam storyline. Rainy J, Billy is moving too fast. Hashtag slow down. Doolaman, that was too convenient of a wrap up though. Kevin is coming back too. Yeah, I had heard about Kevin. Susan Russo, most times she looks shell-shocked to me. I think we're talking about Victoria, maybe? I'm not sure. Aaron Brody, they're casting Chelsea right now, too. She's coming back. Great. So we're going to have so many people that were so close to the Adam character, especially Chelsea. I want to see Adam and Chelsea get back together. That's kind of a, side comment there, but that would be nice. Aaron Brody, Right, Mary, they sent JT off to jail, and that's it. Yeah, and that's, to me, I agree with you guys. The JT thing, it's like, okay, we were just finishing that up, and now Victoria, who obviously is not okay, that she's running off to Vegas to kind of unwind, and she's having one night stands and not behaving like herself. Yeah, like obviously Victoria is in no place to be getting into a committed relationship. Even though I do want her to be with Billy, I just feel like everything's going very fast. And even though Billy, so they had this conversation, and Billy wanted to know, well, why don't you want to be with me? What are the reasons that you have against me? And Victoria gave him an honest answer and basically said he's a drama magnet and that he can't handle it when things are calm and that he needs excitement all the time. And Billy was pretty much like, yeah, well, I can't argue with that, but right now you're doing what I usually do, so I can be the yin to your yang, we can complete each other, blah, blah, blah. And he seemed to be understanding, but also at the same time pushing her into this committed relationship again. And I get it. Billy said some really sweet things. Victoria even said, we need to slow down. My life's chaos. I can't take any more pain. And Billy, like, he did respond very sweetly. He said, I read the end of the book and it's us together. I want to give you the life that you don't want to run away from. We need to try again. And I believe in us. And then they end up kissing. They end up, sort of together by the end of this week. There's a poker tournament that Victoria was going to go to with that Brandon guy, I think because Big Vic was supposed to be there, and they ended up moving it to the hotel room where Victoria was staying, and Big Vic didn't show. And it's kind of this, Brandon sort of tries to I don't want to, it isn't like he's trying to date Victoria, but he definitely made it sound like he wanted to see her again. And Victoria very kindly shut him down and said, yeah, I'm going home after this. Sorry, party's over. I'm not Jenny anymore. And it's kind of, after that, she goes back with Billy and they're sort of together, or at least it feels like they've kind of unofficially agreed to get back together. I want to see that. That's my only issue with this storyline, is that Victoria did give Billy some good reasons that she didn't think it was going to work between them and that he had hurt her so many times. But like I said at the beginning of all this, I just really want Victoria to get into everything with JT and say, hey, like, this is really what's happening here's what's happening on the inside. And I just want to see Billy step up and actually be a little more understanding and be a little less pushy about it, because yeah, we don't want Victoria doesn't want a JT repeat. Not that Billy would hurt her, but it's just too fast, and Billy needs to calm down a little bit and just give her some time and space. Aaron, Billy is too much of a big kid to ever be able to be with Victoria. Melody, they jump to new and old relationships so quickly on this show. Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Rainy J, I think Nick is more of a big kid. Look, he can't even be still and relax. I think Nick and Billy are both like grown-up children. So to me, yeah, like they're for different reasons. They're both kind of like a wild card, and whenever either of them is in a relationship, I can't trust it. The only thing that about Billy and Phyllis that I trusted is that Phyllis had a way about her of being kind of just as wild, and so I felt like she knew kind of how to play Billy, and so that it would kind of last a little bit longer than if Billy had been with someone like Victoria. I do want him with Victoria, though. I just have a feeling that this is going really fast and he's being a little pushy about it, and that it isn't going to end well, and that Victoria is going to end up getting hurt exactly like what she thought. Mary, will it ever come out, Aaron, that Billy slept with Summer? Yeah, I'm waiting for that to come out too. They can't, that was so big that they can't just let it sit there. And I'm almost wondering, as I was watching this Billy and Victoria storyline, I'm almost wondering if that's going to be something that does come out right when she's about to give in and date Billy and be with him. And that's going to come out. Maybe Phyllis is going to be the one to try to mess with the relationship when she sees it's happy. She hasn't done it so far, but maybe so if Victoria does happen to say yes to Billy's proposal and Phyllis finds out, maybe she'll get kind of spiteful and decide, okay, well, I need to actually go and break this off. And oh, what a better way than to throw my daughter into this. We all know that Phyllis is not above putting her daughter in the middle of something when it comes to blackmail. Hint, hint, one of our next topics we will get to in a little bit here. So I'm almost wondering if Phyllis might throw it in Victoria's face at some point. As like a little side comment here too, since we're talking about Phyllis, the actress currently playing Phyllis, Gina, she is not going anywhere for another month. I looked this up before the show today to see when we would see the switch to Michelle Stafford, and Michelle is fulfilling her current contract and won't be switching over until May to actually start filming. So we all know that that's when she's going to start filming, which means we might not see the switch until June. We'll get to Phyllis in a second because there's something at the end of this week that we saw with her that kind of has led into this other prediction I have, but we will get there. Before we do, let's switch gears for a moment here and just wanted to say thank you guys for always tuning in and helping us to be the ESPN of TV talk. We could not do this without you, and we definitely could use your help for us to continue to grow. So if you could just go ahead and make sure you subscribe to our channels on YouTube. We have so many different channels. We have a sci-fi channel, we have reality TV, we have fantasy, we have the drama channel, which is where you guys go to watch this show, Restless Wrap. So if you could like and subscribe to any of the channels that you are interested in, that would help us a lot. And then also we have our shows on iTunes as well. So if you can go over and give us a rating on iTunes, leave us a comment, let us know. We'll read your comments and then we'll definitely give you a shout out on the show. But let us know in the comments that you subscribed, and I will give you a shout out live on the air once you've done that. So thank you again. I just wanted to say that being a part of AfterBuzz has meant so much to me because it gives me a place where every week, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world of Genoa City, I can come here and discuss this with you guys, and I have such a lively chat and so many comments from you all that it helps us have this conversation and continue with the show so that there's a place for us to always talk about The Young and the Restless, because what would we do if we didn't have one spot to talk about this show? So thank you for supporting us in everything that we do. Speaking of talk, if you guys wanted to call in right now, right now live, it's April 14th, 2019, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. If you want to call in live, the number to dial is 424-354-8302. Again, if you are listening live right now and you want to call in, the number is 424-354-8302. Let's dive into our next topic. We have some comments first, though. Aaron Brody, in all caps, Team Rachel. Thank you. Well, to that I say, Team Aaron Brody, thank you for being a part of the show. Susan Russo, Michelle is a great actress. Mary, I love this chat. It's really great. And you were awesome, Rachel. Thanks, Mary. You're awesome, too. Melody Moffat, I think Gina is great, have watched her for years, but I kind of thought of her as a new character. She was never Phyllis to me. Yeah, and I want to say, to kind of go off of that, Gina is the only actress I've ever seen play Phyllis, because I started watching the show in 2017, and I read that Gina showed up in 2014. So to me, it's going to be very weird. Not that Michelle is not a wonderful actress. I'm sure she is. There are a lot of people I've heard from that love her and loved her as Phyllis. I'm sure she is going to be an awesome Phyllis, but to me, it's going to be a little odd to get used to at first, because I know Gina as being Phyllis, that because she was the first one I ever saw as Phyllis. So I'll definitely give her a chance though and see how it goes. But it's going to be a change. It's interesting the way that Y&R does this too. When there's someone who switches and it's going to be somebody else permanently, like the new actor that's playing Nate. We saw this week. Nate showed up to talk to Lola, and we had we had Peter Bergman doing the voiceover saying, Nate will now be played by, and it was an interesting way to do it. Otherwise, I would not have known that was Nate, so that's probably a really good thing that they did that. Even though Lola did say, Dr. Hastings, thanks for showing up. I might have assumed that it was a different Dr. Hastings, or that it was not, like, maybe a relative, but not the Nate. So I'm glad that they did it that way, and I'm assuming they're going to do it that way with when Michelle Stafford comes to take Gina's place. We have a couple of other really awesome comments. Thank you guys. We have Susan Russo. We have Hubby Joe. Rachel is the best host. Of course, Hubby Joe is my real life husband, so I feel like he's a little biased, but we have some people saying lol hubby. Rainy J says lol hubby. Susan Russo, she is Hubby Joe. Andre, Rachel's the best host. Thank you. I'll take my bow now. Rainy J says, I never liked Phyllis. Michelle made me not stand her, and Gina helped me like her even less, but I liked Gina better. Susan Russo, I watch her on General Hospital as Anina. Aaron Brody, call in, Brittany. So we're getting some, Brittany, if you want to call in, you should. Melody Moffat, Michelle's fantastic as Nina on General Hospital. Susan Russo, I liked that too, Rachel, when I heard Jack announcing the different Nate. Aaron Brody, old Nate is better. Yeah, so far I'm going to have to agree with you. And I don't know if that's just me preferring because Nate, obviously I know him as being the other actor, not the new guy. And we've only seen the new Nate in like a couple of scenes at this point. So I'm going to try to give it more time to kind of let it settle that this is the new actor who's going to play him. But yeah, I'm kind of with you guys so far. And I know it's only been a week, but I just got used to Nate being a certain way, and it's awkward too because I can only imagine if you're the new actor or actress brought in to play the same character. I'm wondering what they expect from you, if they are thinking, okay, well, because it's not like when you have a brand new character and you come in, you can kind of make it your own because no one has ever played that character before. But when it's something like this where you kind of have to live up to the way the other actor played it, in most cases anyway, I'm sure that's even more challenging as someone performing the role. Like when they had the usual person who plays Summer was out for a week and they had the other actress, and it didn't feel right. It just felt off because it just wasn't. We put a face to the character and we expect them to be, the actor or the actress sort of becomes the character for us. And so we kind of get used to that. But that being said, let's kind of touch on a couple of other topics here, and then eventually we'll get to our lull moment near the end and then predictions. Real quickly, Tessa, Raya, we didn't have much from them. We haven't had much from them in a while, but we just had like little things. Obviously, they were part of the JT murder trial, but they were kind of on the outside of it. We haven't had drama with Tessa, Raya. They've been happy, but now we have Tessa playing and doing her music again. And Mariah really was pushing for Tessa to go back and try to get Devon's attention. So Mariah played a recording of one of Tessa's songs to Devon. Devon assigned Anna to the project, and then Tessa ends up playing in Crimson Lights for Anna, and that's where we got with that. Obviously, Devon is very hesitant because he knows what happened last time with Tessa. She ended up plagiarizing everything, and not everything, but it was one song she stole from Mariah's journal. And it was actually a really good song. For anyone who doesn't know, Kate Fairbanks, the actress who plays Tessa, she is actually the one singing those songs, and you can find her on Spotify. The one song, she has a bunch of her songs there. So the whole point is that if you actually enjoy her music, you can find it on Spotify. And I listened to some of her songs because they're that good. So just a little plug for her there. I'm curious what's going to happen with Tessa, because we're still wondering what's going on with her deep down. If she's up to something, she always acts a certain way. We know that she acted with Noah, and I know that we've all kind of been feeling like there's just something that's not right with her, and that she's still pretending with Mariah. Right now, they're kind of backing off on the drama there, but I feel like we're going to get it soon, and that something's going to happen, and that even if Tessa goes back and ends up performing again, that she might pick up again and then leave Mariah in the dust. And on that note, we have a caller on the line. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey, who do we have on the line?
Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. So I was talking about Tessa and Mariah, but actually this is probably a good time for us to switch and talk a little bit about Mia and everything that happened with Ray this week too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about everything with Mia and the fake pregnancy that is now a real pregnancy? Whose baby do you think it is?
I don't know. I feel like the way that it's gonna go, I feel like it should be. They make it Arturo's because like just to make more drama, and I feel like if it was Ray, I feel like they would have kept them together and he wouldn't have moved on his share.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And plus, when the doctor said, yeah, you're about 12 weeks, it was like Mia did the math, and real quickly she was like, oh. And I kind of sensed the way she said it was implying that she knew it was Arturo too. And I did the math in my head, and that does bring us back to February. So it's like the perfect, 12 weeks. Yeah, hey, perfect. Yeah, so I just think Mia needs to stop already with all the drama and the antics.
Yeah. And I feel like she's using Ray too, because how Paul was asking him all the questions about what happened, and if he knew, he basically lied and said he didn't know, and he does know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to end up wind up where Ray might even get in trouble because he's lying for her. And I don't trust Mia at all. I think that she could turn any of them in. And so to save her own skin, I could see her being the one to tip off the cops that, I don't know, maybe Ray knows something that he's hiding and somehow make it look like it's not her. But that Ray is hiding something that would get him in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be so much more drama because we have everything going on with Lola and Kyle. What do you think is going to happen with them and Summer?
I feel like the way that they are going about it now, he might leave Summer for Lola if he feels like there's a connection there more than with Summer. But I feel like it's too he's in love with both of them obviously, but it's too early to tell like who he really is going to pick or be with, because he does love them both.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can see it. Like at first he obviously didn't love Summer, but I feel like with Summer, he feels like he even said this to Jack, that when Summer looks at him, looks at Kyle, it's like he's her answer. And so I feel like maybe he's with Summer, not for the right reasons. Obviously he has a connection with her, but it's like almost because, yeah, exactly. Whereas maybe with Lola, it might have been more of that romantic, like equal. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to say equal because Lola and Kyle are so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you said it's too early to tell. Who do you want him to end up with?
I feel like I don't know. I'm more of Lola because even though Summer loves him and that was her first true love, I feel like it's not in return anymore. Like she came back and yeah, he still, loves her, but not the way that he feels for Lola.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for calling in, Brittany. I hope you have a wonderful week.
You too. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
So that's a great time for us to kind of touch a little bit more on everything that happened with Kyle and Lola and Jabot, because we had some drama with Jack as well. He's very involved in this. Let's check in with the chat really fast. Rainy J, it wasn't 12 weeks, though. That night they were freezing, LOL. So I did the math. So 12 weeks, I think it was back in February that this whole storyline with him happened. And if we go back, so that's 3 months ago, right? So then we have, so that's exactly in February that happened. So as far as what I remember, the 12 weeks thing goes back to right around that time in February. But you know how soaps are, they kind of like, you never know. I'm surprised they didn't try to say it was like not 12 weeks, but I'm surprised they didn't try to make it sound like it was 2 or 3 months, but then she'd be showing a little bit. How did Mia not know she was pregnant, though? That's my question. How are there no signs? If it's 12 weeks, wouldn't she have missed a certain something that would have told her that she potentially might be pregnant? I know she told the doctor that she didn't have morning sickness, but the other thing is she took that woman's urine for the test to make sure that, the test came back positive when she took it to show Ray. But you would think that Mia would have taken her own test first, just to make sure, hey, just in case, maybe this is easier than going to a woman, I don't know, and like paying her for her sample. Could have made things a little bit easier than spending money she didn't have to spend and stealing, I think they called it the sonogram, the picture of the baby, stealing that from the woman instead of just, Mia, you just made this way too complicated. Rainy J, Ray and Mia were having a lot of sex. I think it's Ray. I mean, it could be Ray, even if it was exactly at the same time that she was sleeping with Arturo. It was only one night with him, and she was still sleeping with Ray, so it could be either. It's hard to say, but I almost feel like Mia wants it to be Arturo. I'm so bad at rolling the R's. I'm just going to say Arturo. Sorry, everybody. I feel like Mia wants it to be Arturo and not Ray. But at the same time, she keeps trying to get back with Ray. She went to Lola. At one point, she went to Arturo. At one point, like maybe before all this drama again, when she first came to town and things kind of subsided a little, I felt bad for her. But after that, I was like, nah, like she just loves the drama. Aaron Brody, both Ray and Arturo are dumb as a rock. Melody Moffat, he looks 100 in with whomever he is in the scene with. I don't know who he is unless I missed something. Maybe, okay, well, I don't know. I'm sorry. Melody, if you want to tell me who you meant by he, I can let people know. Rainy J, thanks, Rachel. It just didn't seem that long ago. Yeah, no, I completely understand. It did not, 12 weeks does not seem like February for whatever reason. Aaron Brody, she invited Arturo over to fix the furnace and then again to fix the AC. Yes, that was so gross to steal someone's pee sample. Gross. Yeah, really gross. Okay, so Mia now knows she is actually pregnant. So that's the whole storyline there. Let's get into Jabot before we get to our lull moment. So Jabot, Jack was planning this whole thing. He was going to call it the Jabot Collective. It was going to be this They were going to basically handle fashion, and they were going to look at vloggers' posts, and he wanted to make it more of like a hip, trendy thing. And they were going to kind of like look at like the younger demographic and market based off that. And he went over it with Summer, Kyle. Billy wasn't in the room, but he had discussed it with him. Tracy was in the room, and he went through all of this. And then the next day, he finds this article published by Ashley's team. It was called the My Beauty Collective, and it was literally line by line exactly what he had planned for Jabot. And he thought that maybe Billy had somehow talked to someone accidentally and it leaked, or maybe Summer, who he's trying to poach to bring over to Jabot and leave Newman. He thought maybe her. Or maybe Abby had told Ashley, but Abby said she hadn't. So it ended up that Ashley planted this little mic in the Jack of Hearts perfume. Talk about tricky. Ashley is really going to town trying to screw with him. So yeah, she bugged his perfume and just making his life even more difficult. So I actually thought that was a great idea, though, what Jack came up with, but back to the drawing board, or I guess he could just change the name and do something slightly different with it, because the trendy thing, that kind of sounded like a good way to get people back to the business. In the end, though, Phyllis comes in. She is spying on Phyllis. Did this whole thing. She brought Summer away. They were supposed to go away for 48 hours. Summer came back early. But the whole idea was that Phyllis was paying to get pictures taken to watch Kyle, basically to document Kyle and Lola. She planted it in Lola's head that Kyle still loved her, blah, blah, blah. So then Lola and Kyle end up getting dinner. There's, they're being photographed the whole time, unbeknownst to them. And the pictures kind of capture them going into this hotel room. And Kyle and Lola almost sleep together, but then Kyle backs away and says, "This isn't right. I can't do this." And he kind of makes it sound like he needs to tell Summer first, but then when he gets back to Summer, he can't do it. He tells her the whole truth, but then he can't break up with her. And Summer's like, "Yeah, no, I understand. You still love her. These things happen. At least this happened. You said no to her and you're back here with me." And I just feel like Kyle, this is going to get messy, because now he almost slept with Lola. So, and he at least he was the one to say, "No, thank you, I can't do this." But he needs to not be like, "Oh, I'm going to go back to Summer and tell her the truth and then come back and be with you," so that it's right. He shouldn't do it like that. He needs to just pick somebody already. Otherwise, he's going to string two people along. And at this point, I feel bad for Summer and Lola, even though we all know Summer should have realized that Kyle was into Lola, but Kyle isn't just into Lola. I don't believe that was ever the case. I think he's been into both of them. But getting back to Phyllis, she decided she was going to capitalize on this and has these photos of Kyle and Lola. She tries to blackmail Jack to get Fenmore's so that she can kind of get back into the swing of things, but that doesn't seem to work, because Kyle ends up telling Summer anyway, and Jack realizes now, even if that comes out, it isn't deep enough to really prove that anything happened. Okay, they stepped into a hotel room together, so that it doesn't show them doing anything. So in the end, Phyllis doesn't win. She ends up in her own room. And the last thing we see with her, and this is kind of going back to what I said near the top of the show, the last thing we see with Phyllis is out of anger, she throws something at the mirror. A piece of the glass ends up on the floor. She picks it up, and she's just staring at herself, her reflection. And this kind of goes back to my theory. This is a prediction territory. I'm going to say it now so that we don't lose the train of thought. I'm thinking that there's going to be some kind of facelift, something that she does that would explain why one day Michelle Stafford comes back and is Phyllis and she looks slightly differently. That's almost what they're hinting at. But at the same time, I know they don't normally do it that way. Yes, they did it that way with Adam once, where he had to get plastic surgery, and then they use that as a segue into the next actor. But I don't know if they're going to do it this way this time. Plus, we know Michelle Stafford has been Phyllis before, so it's kind of, to me, that's what it seems like they're leading into, but it maybe not. It's hard to say at this point, but let's touch base with a couple of the comments here. Aaron Brody, Jack, just give Jabot to Ashley to buy from you and move on. Melody Mofat, I think we're talking about Kyle here, right? He looked at Summer calling like she was nothing, but it is in a scene with her and looks like he wants to be with her too. I'm confused. I'm confused too. I don't really know what Kyle wants. I think that, I mean, you can argue that he's just a really good actor and that he is acting like he's in love with Summer, but he told Jack that he kind of had a connection with Summer too. So why would he tell that to Jack? I just think Kyle might be confused and that he's really in deep. Susan Russo, Kyle's got himself in a real pickle. I agree with that. Rainy J, yeah, only sign when they cuddle up to go to bed. He looked like he was missing Lola. I had the TV on mute, so I didn't know what they were talking about. That was right after they had that conversation about the truth, and Kyle told Summer where he had been and that he had almost slept with Lola but stopped himself. And Lola was like, yeah, I forgive you. It's okay. Like, she was being really calm about it. And she ended up saying, you don't have to come to bed, but you can if you want. And then instantly Kyle went to bed with her. And I don't mean like have sex. I mean, like, he literally like wrapped his arms around her and they went to bed. And to me, like, I get what you're saying about it seeming like he was missing Lola. I think a part of him does, Rainey, but to me that also said, I also thought, okay, well, he's choosing to go into bed with her and just sleep with her. So maybe he's choosing to still be with her. But obviously Kyle misses Lola too. So it's such a weird situation right now. Aaron Brody, I love the new feud with Ashley versus Jack. I'm tired of Jack versus Victor. Yeah, this is a very fresh thing. If it's happened before, it happened before I was watching the soap. So, but yeah, I like the whole thing with Jack and Ashley and this weird feud. Ashley's not even really there. We've seen her for like a hot minute and then she left again. So to have all this power and we don't even see much of her, it's very interesting the way they play this. Brittany Duran, Phyllis got mad. She didn't get what she wanted. She wanted to tell Summer, but Kyle told her the truth. Yeah. Rainy J, after rewatch, I was getting things organized for a party. Well, I hope the party was really fun. Rainy J, did she break the mirror because she was mad at Jack? Yeah, so she was mad at the whole entire situation, including Jack, who just showed up at the hotel and basically was like, yep, you didn't win, Phyllis, goodbye. And that, I mean, okay, so yeah, my words were a little different than what he may have actually said, but for lieu of, you know, since we're getting near the end of the show, let's jump to our law moment and then predictions. I almost didn't have a law moment, but I ended up with two. One was Nick and Nikki playing cards with Victoria's kids, the two little kids. And it wasn't exactly funny. I just thought it was heartwarming. And when we were getting to the end of the week and I didn't have anything, I was like, okay, this is the closest thing I have to a law moment. But then we got to Phyllis showing up and talking to Jack. This is like during the whole blackmailing situation. And Jack saying, you want to get self-righteous with me about marital faithfulness? And I literally started laughing because it was so hilarious to me that Phyllis would try to get into Jack's face about anything, like try to be self-righteous about anyone being faithful, considering she cheated on Jack. So yeah, those were my two law moments. Let's get to our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, let's start with Mia. I think that it's going to end up being Arturo's baby. That's my first prediction. I think that she's going to find out it's Arturo's. Maybe Arturo will find out too. But then she's still going to try to play it off like it's Ray's baby. She might even try to get Arturo involved in this and try to get him to like somehow lie to Ray so that she can get back with Ray. I don't even know. I could see her doing that. It's going to be drama with Mia. I think that Jack is going to take advantage of the fact that he knows that Ashley is listening to him, and he's going to lie and make it sound like he's doing something that he knows is going to be really bad, but he lies, and then Ashley ends up doing it, and it hurts her business because she thinks that it's actually what he's going to do. And then I guess just going off of Tessa, I feel like she's going to go back down the road of being successful with her music, but then she's going to end up, as she's doing this, it might get to her head this time. She might start pulling some of the old crap that she pulled before and just doing generally bad things. And then with Lola and Kyle, I really don't know what to predict with that because I feel like it could literally go either way, as Brittany said. So what do I want to happen? I almost want him to be with Summer so that he, I just feel like they might be better for each other, but that's not really a prediction, just kind of what I want to happen, even though I think Lola is obviously the better choice in that she's very reliable as a person and more trustworthy, but Kyle's in this marriage. With Summer, he should try to stick it out. Okay. Alyssa says for her predictions, I think Mia's going to have a miscarriage and leave. Yeah, I could see that happening too. And Susan, I like your predictions, Rachel. Thank you so much. And let's see. Melody Moffat just says that sleeping together, the way that Kyle slept with Summer, was more intimate than having sex, especially for her. Aaron Brody, Alyssa, that's what I heard too about the miscarriage. She has cramps this week. Interesting. Okay, well, on that note, thank you all again for tuning in live. I always appreciate that we have so many amazing people in the live chat. You guys help me more than you could ever know. I feel like we are having a conversation back and forth, and it's not just me talking to myself. So thank you always for tuning in live. My name is Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rachel Goodman. You can also find me on Instagram on my author Instagram at Rachel Radner Author. And if you want to continue the conversation with Restless Rap, we have a Facebook page at Restless Rap. So you can go over there, follow. I always post the link to the show. And we've had conversations on there during the week, and I've read them live on the air the following show. So until next time, thank you guys again for being such amazing fans, and we will chat next week.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.